One question people often have when they run an experiment or a test is where does the information stored? And within the test battery, it's always stored in the same place. So within each of these folders, you can open it up, and after the test will be run, it'll create a data folder. And as of PEBL 014, it will always create a different subdirectory for each subject within that data folder for almost all of the tests. And so it might look like this, and this is for the Corsi test, that each subject code you put in will create a new subdirectory. Then within there'll be each subdirectory, there'll be one or more files, but if this window here starts out with a filter, so it will only show you .pbl files, because there are a lot of other files that help, image files and text files. So in order to see the data, you click on this little filter down here, and it'll show you what the files are. And you can see in this Corsi test, there's actually 3 per subject. One is a summary file, one is a detailed file, like a click-by-click, and another is a trial-by-trial file. And if you want to put all these together, there's a lot of ways you can do it. A lot of tools out there, including very simple command line tools that I typically use, but a lot of people aren't comfortable doing that. So I put together a tool that helps you combine data. And this tool is pretty simple right now, but it has it's going to save people a lot of time when they run a study. So it's accessed with this button down here. So to use this, you navigate to the data folder of the file you want to use, and it's going to find all of the data files, all of the files within that folder and all of its subdirectories, and then let you filter just the ones you want. So let's go to this particular data set, and I'll click on Combine Data. It'll open up the PEBL Data Combining tool. And you can see it starts out with 319 different files. Not all of them I care about, including there's pooled files, which is what I already used to combine them, and these report files that just give you a basic human readable summary. And so we want to filter these down. So how this works is you can put filters to match things here, filters to exclude things here. And the way, if you have nothing in either one, nothing will match and it'll be empty. But if you put a star, that says, give me everything. And so there's 319 possible files here. But if you do, say you want just the CSV files, which are what all the data are usually saved in, I could do CSV, and now it gets me down to 211 files from 319. There's still a lot of files that I may not care about, like this pooled file. And so what I can do is then exclude file name matches as well. So if I hit pool, it gets me down to 210. And now each of these files has several different types, a detail and a trial. And I want to maybe pool together just the trial. So I'm going to I want to match 2 things. If I did space, I could do a space and say detail, but that won't change anything because you're already matching all of the detail files. So this, if you do a space, that treats as an OR, and so it'll match everything that says detail and everything that has a CSV. But I could do an AND here instead of a space, like so. I hit enter, and now it cuts it down to 105 different files. So now that takes care of those, but there's also within this I've got a lot of different, both forward and backward. And let's say I want to do just the forward, or maybe just the backward. Well, I could do that 2 ways. I could exclude the thing I don't want, and I'll just do that this way. So I want to exclude pool, and I want to exclude anything that says backward. Now I have forward. So anything that says backward is filtered out. I could have put a forward up here and probably gotten exactly the same thing. So now I'm down to 53 files. And you can preview each of them down here. So now if I want to put all these together, if I were to hit combine and save, it would put them all together, but notice that they each have a header, and I want to pull that header out of each of these rows and then put it in the pooled one. So I'm going to check files contain a header so that it will do that. It's not very smart. When you do that, it just pulls out the first line of everything and puts the first line of one of the files back on the end of the pooled file. So there still may be some hand editing you have to do at the end. And then there's also this option that we don't know exactly where these files came from, this data came from, and sometimes it's useful to know that, especially if maybe I have a pooled file that I want to make sure I don't get in there as well. So if you do add file name to data, it will add another column at the beginning that tells you what file it came from. So now that I'm satisfied that I want to put all 53 of these together, I can hit combine and save, and it will save this out to a file. But I also can combine and open, and this will try to open it in a word processor like OpenOffice or whatever you have. So here's what it looks like. And notice now the first column is the file it came from, which is essentially the subject code, but it wouldn't necessarily have to be. And it put all 3,000 of those lines together, and now I could read this into SPSS or R or something really easily and do my data analysis.